Hey guys, it's Liv. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a Q&A because it has been quite a while. First of all, since I've been back on YouTube, and second of all, since I've done a Q&A. I feel like YouTube in general has changed a little bit since TikTok and Instagram Reels became a thing. I feel like YouTube used to kind of be the place that people went for recipe videos, and now with all the short form content out there on TikTok and Instagram, I feel like everyone, myself included, really likes kind of like short form recipe content, and you don't necessarily need like a 10-minute long video showing you how to make a recipe on YouTube. So that's why I'm coming back with like this style of content, a little bit more than like recipe focused content. Obviously this channel and my life in general, still at the heart of it is food and plant-based cooking, but I just feel like TikTok and Instagram have changed the game in a lot of ways, and that's definitely one of them. So without further ado, let's get into some questions. So I asked on my Instagram for people to ask any questions that they have for a YouTube Q&A. Got them here, so let's get into them. Okay, starting with one about pregnancy. Someone asked, any advice on morning sickness? I'm struggling so badly. So if you saw my pregnancy announcement video, I talked a little bit about my first trimester, and I forget how many weeks I was in that video. I want to say I was like 16 weeks. And so I was well out of the first trimester and I was feeling a lot better. But from, I would say, about 6 weeks until like 14 weeks, I was super nauseous, and I never actually like threw up from morning sickness, but I was nauseous. I had food aversions. I didn't want to eat anything. I just felt awful, and I got a prescription from my doctor for diclectin, which is like a anti-nausea medication for pregnancy, and that really helped, although it did kind of almost make me feel zombie-like. Like it made me very, very tired. But honestly, I don't have a ton of advice. Morning sickness is just like the worst thing ever, and I know you hear people say like, oh, never let yourself get too hungry, make sure you always have snacks. That's kind of a thing, but I found that that never really helped. Like I was just nauseous no matter what, and it wasn't really due to being hungry. So like I never let myself get too hungry. I always had like crackers or granola bars or whatever, but that still didn't help a whole lot. I had like bland foods or sometimes like sour candies. I had a little essential oil, like lemon essential oil thing that I would sniff when like smells in my house were just too much and making me feel really nauseous. Like if Greg was using the air fryer, which was like my number one thing that I just could not deal with when I was pregnant. There's really not much you can do. It's technically a good sign that your pregnancy is progressing well, but it is awful, and I guess just keeping in mind that it will pass. I know when I was in my first trimester, it honestly felt like it was going to last forever, and like it was just taking so long and every day was so long. But now that it's been pretty much almost exactly a year since I found out I was pregnant, I feel like I have some perspective now, and it really is like a short-ish amount of time, even though it feels so long at the time. You'll look back and be like, okay, it really wasn't that long, even though it was really hard. And just do everything you can, like try all the hacks, see if there's anything that works for you. Different things will work for different people, but the medication did help a bit. So if it's too bad, then definitely talk to your doctor. Someone asked, how old is little pumpkin now? So Lando is going to be 15 weeks this coming Saturday. Is being a mom easier or harder than you expected? So I expected it to be really hard, but it is definitely harder. Like some ways are easier than I expected, but a lot of ways are obviously harder. I feel like sleep deprivation is just harder than you ever think. Even though you know you're gonna be so tired, until you're actually like feeling that tired, it's hard to like prepare yourself for that. I just had this idea in my head that we would never peacefully get to like cook dinner together anymore or sit down and have a meal, but that's not really the case. Like he pretty much naps around our dinner time every night right now. That's probably gonna change, but right now it's that part is easier. Like we get to still like cook dinner together, which is one of our favorite things to do together, and we get to like sit down and watch shows. And yeah, so there's definitely a lot that has been easier, but there's a lot that has been harder too. Breastfeeding, way harder than I ever imagined. I didn't put a single thought into breastfeeding before I had him, and was like totally shocked by that. Some things that were easier, I would say recovery. Like it took longer than I expected, but it was easier than I expected. I felt pretty good right away, and even though I had like stitches and stuff, the actual like physical recovery was easier, even though it took longer. But yeah, so far feeding has been the hardest part of our journey, like coming to terms with the fact that I couldn't nurse, and then having to like learn and figure out pumping and like just feeding schedules and everything was a lot harder. Update on your house. So yeah, I did a basement tour in my last vlog where I just like took you down in our empty basement and showed there's pretty much literally nothing down there, like no walls, no floors, nothing. It is down to the studs. Because we had 8 feet of water in our house when Nova Scotia had this like crazy flooding day, and it was 6 days after we had our baby, and yeah, it was honestly so traumatic. But our house is still just like, it's just totally gutted in the basement, and we like, until we figure out like insurance money and everything, we like aren't gonna start redoing the basement. And I'm honestly putting it off because I know that like having a ton of people in here all the time, like we have 2 dogs and a baby, it's just gonna be, and we work from home, so it's gonna be so chaotic trying to like fully renovate our basement and work from home and have a baby who can nap and have our dogs not always be like going down and bothering them. Like, oh, I'm just putting it off because I know it's gonna be just like such a nightmare, and it's gonna take obviously a long time to like rebuild half a house. So yeah, that's the update. Someone said, when did you know you wanted to be a mother? Literally when I was 3 years old and my baby sister was born. I'm pretty sure like I would hold her and look at my parents and say, my baby. I was always obsessed with like our little cousins, and I babysat all the time. And yeah, I've just wanted to be a mom for as long as I can remember. Someone said, the most surprising thing about having a baby. Okay, the most surprising thing about having a baby is like, again, with feeding. So when you hear babies need to eat every 2 to 3 hours, so when I was breastfeeding at first, he would eat for 45 minutes, and he was eating like every hour and a half, 2 hours back then. It's not 2 hours from when they stopped eating, it's 2 hours from when they started eating. So if you have 2 hours, every 2 hours they have to eat, they eat for 45 minutes, that means you only have an hour and 15 minutes in between when they last ate and when they have to eat again, and that includes the time to like burp them and change their diaper. And so now we're bottle feeding, and he eats about every 3 hours, so it takes like 15 minutes to give him a bottle. So it's like, if he eats at 9, then he'll have to eat again at 12. So it doesn't matter like how long it took them to eat the bottle, it just matters when they started. And it's like a full-time job to just keep a baby fed. So I'd say that's honestly been the most surprising thing. I feel like we had a rough start with like having to move into my parents' basement 6 days after having him, and so something that surprised me was just like, I think it took me a little bit longer to bond with him because we were just like in a totally new environment. We were living with people, there was always people around, always people holding him. Like I never really got to have like fully alone time with him, and I didn't really get to know like him and his schedule and his cues for quite a long time. And I think like going into labor early and just having all of these things happen that were like totally out of my control was really traumatic. And I can maybe do a birth story if you guys want, like a birth story video, but I found the whole labor and birth process to be very traumatic as well. And so I feel like it just took me longer to bond with him. I thought that it would be like an immediate thing like you hear, but it actually took a while before I really felt like a connection to him. So that was a little bit surprising too, because I'm like a super maternal person, and even when I was babysitting, like I would babysit babies and it just felt so natural to me. But for some reason having my own, I don't know if it was that or just like the trauma of everything that happened when he was born, it just really took quite a while for me to feel like I had this actual connection between me and him, which I feel fully now, and like I'm just like so in tune with him and like know what he needs at any given moment. But yeah, it took a while for me to get to that point, so that was really shocking as well. Someone said, what do you look forward to both personal and work? So now currently I look forward to all of Lando's milestones. I'm so excited for him to like start, I don't know, sitting up and crawling and walking, just like all of his milestones. Honestly, cooking dinner with my husband every night. Also in the fall, we like try a new soup recipe every day, so I always look forward to that. And then work-wise, I just love filming. Like I love making YouTube videos, I love filming recipes, I love when I post a story and people ask for the recipe and then I'm like, okay, there's a ton of interest, like I'll film a video for this. So I'm pretty much always looking forward to like just filming and making content. Someone said, how did you and Greg meet? So my friend dated his friend in early high school, and then he started dating another one of my friends who I was like kind of friends with, but we weren't really close back then, but like I knew of him and met him when they were dating. So that was in like grade 10, so that would have been, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. And then I ended up 2 years after that meeting and dating one of his friends, and we dated for 7 years. In that time, Greg had also gotten married. Anyway, long story short, he was single and I was single, and so this was like 8 or 9 years after we had first met, but like we had been friends all the way through, obviously, because like our friend groups were basically just like intermingled as you do in high school and university. And so yeah, then we were both single, and then we started dating then. I like officially met him at a party that we were at a friend's house, and we played beer pong together. That was kind of like our first actual meeting, but yeah, we started dating like way after that. Do you meal prep or plan ahead meals for the week, or do you just eat your content? So we eat our content. My breakfast this morning was cookie dough chocolate chip cookies, which is like a baked cookie with frosting and then cookie dough on top. I don't know if the recipe will be up by the time this is up, but if it is, go to my Instagram. If it's not, it will be soon. But yeah, we definitely eat all of our content for the most part, or we'll like share with family and friends. Sometimes things end up getting lost in our fridge. I feel like there's like jars of cheese sauce that Greg has put in our fridge that like we just totally forget about, and then they get all gross. But for the most part, we eat our content and or give it to people. I don't necessarily meal prep, but definitely in the fall, like I said, we try a new soup recipe every night, and then we usually have enough for like lunch the next day. No, I don't really meal prep. If I do meal prep, it's like cooking some rice or like stir frying a bunch of like veggies and tofu to have as leftovers. But I personally don't really meal prep just because cooking is my job, and so like we're always just cooking stuff. So like yeah. What are some things you do for self-care? Currently I do Pilates or like a yoga video. Also just having like the big everything shower where you like do a hair mask and shave your legs and like just do all the things. That is one of my favorite self-care things. Pilates and yoga, definitely going for walks, listening to a podcast. I love the What We Said podcast. Super like self-care for me. Baking and cooking is also self-care to me. I love it. And right now I spend a lot of my day pumping, so I'll often like read for book club when I'm pumping, and so I consider that self-care too. But overall, I feel like I just kind of like fit it in when I can. Just some of the main things that I like to do. Is it difficult to sleep with a newborn at night? I'm pregnant and I'm anxious about it. So I'm not gonna lie, like I said, they have to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Oftentimes when they're really young, they'll eat even more frequently than that. Now it's gotten a whole lot better. Like he takes kind of more structured naps throughout the day, and then he goes to bed when we go to bed, and he sleeps honestly really well throughout the night. It was really hard to sleep at first just because like you're basically on like a 2 to 3 hour clock and you're just waking up a ton throughout the night, and that's totally normal. But it does get easier. Like for us, it got a lot easier a few weeks ago. Around like 12 weeks he started sleeping really good stretches. It's obviously different for everyone, and it's different whether you're like nursing or bottle feeding, but yeah, don't be anxious about it, because honestly, like I was really anxious too, because I love sleep, and I often found if I would like wake up in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. I would be super anxious, and so I was like, well great, I'm gonna be up at this time all the time with a newborn, and I was really anxious about that. But creating a nursery that just feels like so cozy and peaceful, and keeping a little lamp on in there, like when I would have to get up in the night and either feed him or pump, being in the nursery was just so cozy and like so comforting, and I honestly didn't mind being awake at that time. I actually found it really special to be like up with him when it was just like so quiet and like everyone's asleep. So yeah, that was kind of like pleasantly surprising, I guess. So if you are anxious about it, again, like it is a short amount of time in the grand scheme of your life, and I just think like it might actually be better than you're expecting. So don't be too anxious about it. You're gonna be tired, but you're gonna get through it, and you might actually find that you don't mind it as much as you think. And I will say your body does get used to it. Like after about a month, I feel like my body started being able to handle sleep deprivation a lot better. Even if I have to wake up in the middle of the night, I don't feel as tired as I did at the very beginning. So you do get used to it for sure. So someone said, can you sometimes share what Lando eats? So yeah, right now he eats milk. He's like 3 months or 15 weeks old. But when he starts having solids, I will definitely like share a bit more about that. I have not researched like how to start giving your baby solids or anything yet. I just like haven't even looked into it. I think I'll probably start with purees, or I don't know. I haven't looked into baby-led weaning, but anyway, haven't looked into it at all. But when I feel like more comfortable, I will definitely share that if people are interested. But yeah, right now he's a milk boy. What's your current routine and schedule balancing work with baby? So like I said, my husband and I do the same job and we're both home during the day. So it's honestly just like trading off. Like if he has to film, then I'll take the baby. If I have to film, he takes the baby. Like right now he is the baby because he's not asleep. But if he's napping, then we just both can get work done. And yeah, we just like trade off. Honestly, I'm so lucky to have him here doing the same job as me. It would be really hard if I was here, because I don't get maternity leave. When you're self-employed, you have to like pay into the employment fund or like whatever it is in advance, and like I didn't do that. And then I also wanted to be able to keep working. I didn't want to have to like shut down my channels and stuff and like not work. So yeah, I don't get maternity leave. So if I was like trying to keep my business running and basically take care of a baby, which are both full-time jobs, it would be so hard. First thing you ate when you brought Lando home? Oh my gosh. The first thing I ate, so when we like literally the second we got home from the hospital, our whole family was here, and it was like 9:30 at night, and they had like cupcakes and fruit trays, and so I just ate like a bunch of fruit and it was so good. Who do you think Lando looks like? So everyone says that he has my mouth, so I definitely think he has my mouth, but he has Greg. Okay, so Greg has like 5 forehead wrinkles. Like when he raises his eyebrows, he has like the kind of forehead that goes like boom, 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 boom. And Lando has that too when he raises his eyebrows. It's so funny. Have you always had such a healthy and balanced relationship with food? Honestly, I did growing up have like a really good healthy and balanced relationship with food. And then I think like when I first went vegan, like a lot of people, I kind of like, I don't know, was like trying different styles of eating, and like I got really scared about like super unhealthy food and like what was healthy versus unhealthy. And so I think it got like a little bit, you know, unhealthy in that way. And then I kind of went like the other route during COVID and was like indulging all the time and gained weight, and like that also wasn't healthy for me. So now I definitely have like a super healthy, balanced relationship with food. Which I would say is like similar to how it was when I was growing up. Like I eat a lot of like homemade baked goods and like homemade hearty foods, and try to limit packaged food, but I'm also not afraid of packaged food. And like if someone has sweet chili heat Doritos, I'm obviously gonna eat some. But yeah, it's like pretty balanced now, I would say. Okay, and then maybe let's do one more. Do you want more kids? Oh my gosh, people ask this and it's like, I'm shook because he's literally 15 weeks. So growing up, I always just wanted one child. And then when I got pregnant, I was like, definitely, I just want one. This is insane. I never want to do this again. And then when I gave birth, again, like I found it very traumatic. And so I was like, there's absolutely no way I'm ever doing this again. And I still was like, I don't even know why people do this. Like, it does not seem worth it. Now that we're 15 weeks in, I'm like, I see why people do it again, because yeah, you just like realize that it actually is so worth it. And I already feel like we are eating our words, even though I have sworn to every single person in my life, every stranger on the street, every person who asks me, do you want more kids? I would say, nope, one and done, one and done, one and done. And now 15 weeks in, he's adorable and just so freaking cute. And I'm so excited to see him grow up. I'm like, I don't know, maybe. So thank you guys so much for watching this Q&A. I think he just woke up from a nap, so I'm gonna go get the little munchkin. But thank you to everyone who sent in questions. I would love to know like how you guys feel about some of the stuff I talked about today. If you have like differing opinions or similar opinions as me, same experiences or different experiences, I love chatting with you guys in the comments, so please leave me a comment below. That's everything for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!